What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Movie Pod, the podcast where we talk all things movies, all things TV shows, all things pop culture, and I'm joined with the one and only Joseph the Great, as always. Yeah,
As always.
we've been uploading an episode every day this month, January, and January's nearly come to an end, meaning our daily episode streak will be coming to an end. I'm sadly back at school now. It freaking sucks. So, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But don't worry, February, we're still going to be getting out 3 episodes a week. March is going to be a big month where I kind of want to put an episode out every day in March, but I got to talk to Joseph about that. March, I'm just going to be in school still, so. And I turn 16 in March. March is hectic. March is a big month, but I want to be doing at least 5 episodes a week. We got Mando, Jedi Survivor. So I want to, Mando, 2 episodes a week. Jedi Survivor, depends with Jedi Survivor, because that's a game. We'll sort that out then. There's movies, so I want to be doing movie reviews. Then other news I want to be talking about, because March, we're going to be getting some massive trailers as well. For, getting a Spider-Verse trailer, we could get massive trailers for movies coming out July and June and stuff. So, yeah. And very soon, start of February, we're getting Fast and Furious 10 trailer. So, we got a good few months ahead of us, and it's going to be some fun. Sadly, I'm back at school now, but all this fun with film and TV is keeping my spirit alive. I can't wait to, obviously do more episodes on all of it. But today's episode is well, let's get right to it. Is the movie industry dying? We're looking at this article from The Review Geek and by Greg Wheeler, and on the 30th of December 2022 he posted this. Is the movie industry dying? So that's exactly what Joseph and I will be getting into in today's episode. We've also got the box office numbers up here to look through. Big mention to Avatar, The Way of the Water. Already, it's 4th highest grossing film of all time. $2 billion. That's crazy, but we'll get to that right now. Let's get into today's episode, guys. Alright, stay tuned. Alrighty. Now, before we get into this article, Joseph and I want to go over our personal opinion on the movie industry currently. Is it dying? Is it not
thriving?
Yeah, is it thriving? Is it dying? Well, looking at these box office numbers, alright, let's look at the dates for this stuff. Okay, so everything recently, we got 7 films in the top 10 that came out. 8 films in the top 10 that came out within the last 10-ish years. If we want to go last 5 years, there's Avengers Endgame, Avatar The Way of the Water, The Force Awakens, Infinity War, No Way Home, Jurassic World, The Lion King, Furious 7 in 11th spot, Top Gun Maverick in 12th spot, Frozen 2 in 13th spot. A lot of the recent movies are in that top 20 here, top 20, even top 10.
Yeah.
3 of the movies in the top 5 came out within the last 8 years. So when you're looking at that, you'd think, oh, cinemas are doing fine.
But
for these big movies, they are.
Yeah.
They've already got a name. Star Wars, since 1977. Marvel, who doesn't watch Marvel? Avatar, it's the sequel to the highest grossing film of all time. Avengers Endgame, again, it's Marvel. Spider-Man, No Way Home. 1, it's Spider-Man. 2, it's Marvel. 3, all the Spider-Mans back. Jurassic World.
But I'm sure here's the problem that comes up for me is that, you don't have the same kind of crowds that you used to draw in. And I think that comes down to, yes, the prices, the amount that that movies are making is a lot higher, but if you look at the inflation for it.
Exactly. And
as
the price of tickets now are much more than the price of tickets back then.
Yeah, and just the way that money has worked. If you transitioned say the amount that Avatar: Way of the Water made, and if you put that into how much that much money was in 1980, right?
That's $4 billion.
Like if you transitioned, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but the whole conversion rate to like
Yeah. You know,
I don't know. It just doesn't
I know what you're
add
saying.
up.
Yeah. You know, you go back to Star Wars, A New Hope 1977, just Star Wars back then, just called simply
Yeah.
Star Wars. It made 400 million, roughly.
Yes. So if you did 400
If
million now,
400 million back then to now to 2023's inflation and stuff,
yeah,
that's billions.
I'm sure
That's
I'm
around.
sure if you could find an inflation calculator, on the internet, it's up to you if you want to do that now. But I'm sure that it would make somewhat close to the same amount. Like 400 million in 1977 is an absurd amount. So,
It is.
just because $2 billion looks like a big number, it doesn't mean that it's more successful than all the other movies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't compare Star Wars Force Awakens to Star Wars A New Hope just purely based on numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so I just did a calculator, inflation
Yep,
calculator. Uh, uh if something made
400 mil.
so 400 million in the calendar year 1977 would calculate $2.3 billion in
There you go.
2023
There you go. So
after
basically, what you're saying
46
is,
years. Yeah.
hey, what
After
was that?
46 years, the inflation rate is at an average of 4.1%. The total change in cost is 48. Okay, I don't know what that means. But
Yeah, but see,
$1.9 billion more than what it made back then.
yeah, see, that would put it into the
Top
is that the second
4.
highest grossing
That
movie of
would
all
put
time?
it third after Endgame.
Third. There you go.
Jesus.
So just because these numbers are so high, it doesn't mean that it's doing better, if that makes sense.
No, not at all.
So having that, like, obviously, if you didn't know that, Isaac and I, we work at a cinema here in Australia,
Yes.
and so we see the crowds, we see the movies, we see the excitement, and sometimes it just doesn't feel there.
No. And if you don't
It
know,
doesn't feel like Avatar: Way of the Water. It definitely did well. It's
that
probably one of
opening
the
night
best
was
movies we've
crazy.
seen.
We both worked opening night of
Yeah,
Avatar the World. That was crazy.
yeah,
But it does. You
and
can see the dip. It dips down.
it does. If you look at video clips from 1980 of people lining up to go see Star Wars, for
It's
instance,
down the street.
it's
Yeah.
it's absurd. They sell
You don't see
out.
that anymore.
You don't. The
There's less
excitement
people
is
going to
gone.
movies now, but the reason why it's
Yeah.
reaching $2 billion, inflation, the
If you look
price
at
of a movie ticket. They're the two big ones.
yeah, if you look at exactly, if you look at ticket sales in comparison to then to now, I'm sure
Oh,
it would be a lot significantly different. Even if you look at ticket sales from the first one to now, 2009 was 13 years ago, right? If you look at the ticket sales for then to now, it would be significantly higher for the original movie. I'll call it. I'm calling it now. If you can find out how
yeah.
many tickets the first one sold to how many tickets this one has sold worldwide, the first one will be a few hundred above it. I'm calling it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's just
1986, believed to be the all-time biggest movie year, when more than 80 million people, which was 57% of Americans, went to the movie theater every week. Now, only a whopping 52.7 million people, which is 30 7% of Americans go to theater every week. It's dropped 20% within 40 years.
Which is a big drop.
That's a
I mean,
big drop.
although 40 years is 40 years as well.
But 20%, you would think, more
But then-
technology now,
Yeah.
you would think more people would be going to theaters now. The technology, movies, and all
Also,
that.
population is significantly higher.
That's another big one.
Um,
This really is showing
numbers
cinemas
don't
are
add up.
dying. They don't. Cinemas are dying. It's simple. I think they are. Working at a theater, looking at these statistics, I think movie theaters are dying.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Which is, yes, 100%. I do agree.
And
I think there's been a resurgence though, and I think 2023 will be a big year for movie theaters worldwide. Really, because I think COVID obviously had a lot to do with it.
yeah, but there was no COVID 2018, 2019.
Yeah, and then that's where,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm kind of contradicting what I just said a few minutes ago, but that is where we had the biggest movies being Star Wars 2015, the other Star Wars movies, and then
But
the
still,
Avengers movies.
I'm going to go back to that inflation calculator. And I'm going to see what Force Awakens, $2 billion, $2,071,000,000 in 2015. What would that be in 1977? Let's have a look.
290. I'm balling it, I'm guessing.
In the calendar year 2015.
No, 320. 320. 320 is my final guess.
320?
Yep. 320 mil.
Oh, it doesn't let me do it that way. Can't reverse it. Stop this!
Ah.
Now I gotta find one. Here we go, I found one. Okay. 2 million. Start year, calculate. $2023, 1977. Come on, please work. Oh, please work. 2 billion. Oh, I did the numbers wrong. Look at me. Let's copy and paste out of that. Tension's building up. Tension's building up.
Tension.
Here we go.
Drum roll.
$2,071,310,218 in 2023 is worth $422,920,040 in 1977. A New Hope box office was
400. That mathematics doesn't add up.
It says what? It says it says A New Hope, 775.8 million. Nah, that's not right.
See, I'm telling you. No, don't worry about it.
No. Hey, Google's telling me wrong. You want a box office mojo? Star Wars 1977 made original released. Made 460. So it still made more. A New Hope made more than The Force Awakens if they came out same year. If inflation was the same as 1977, A New Hope still made more than The Force Awakens, and that was 1977. That's atrocious. That is not good.
So
from a movie nearly 50 years ago,
when the population was
significantly lower. Now,
if 80 million, the population of America would have been 160 mil, because you said something about 80 million being 50% of the population.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yep.
I'm not sure the current population of of America, but it is higher than 160 million.
331.9 mil.
So just over half,
Yeah,
just over double. It's doubled.
it's doubled
It's
in
more
50
than doubled
years.
in 50s.
It's not looking good for cinemas, and I think, these big production companies, my dream one day is to make movies, have my own film company. I wouldn't want to release it on streaming services and shit. I would want it to be in a cinema. That's what I would want my movie to be in. Like that, just thinking your movie's playing in a movie theater. That just sounds so cool. That's my dream, my movie to play in a movie theater, not to be on not to be on streaming services that all freaking companies go onto now. Netflix. Like these companies that are film companies, Disney Plus, Disney. So many more shows now on Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. Any movie now will get a streaming service premiere. Even like Netflix, a lot of their films do not go to cinemas. If they do, they go there for
It's because
like
it's
a week
cheaper.
or two. It's cheaper. And that's the big thing. That's a big thing reason why the movie industry is dying, because these companies are greedy. There's so many
Big,
factors that go into it. From inflation to the population, to the price of movie tickets, to the production companies being greedy, to people wanting to make more money themselves personally. There's so many
so
factors that are causing it
I
to
think,
die.
yeah, I think in the last well, I don't know, maybe the last 2 decades, movies have turned from actual pieces of theater, because theater obviously is art, right? Theater is a form of art.
Yeah.
Acting is a form of art, and it's turned from entertainment into a money making corporation.
Yeah.
Like they're no longer movie making corporations.
Creative people who.
They're now businesses
Yeah, that's what I was
to
going to say.
make money, to not to extort fans of the company. Not to extort fans of the company or the movie that they're making, but it's more about making the money than it is making the enjoyable films. Yes, we know that there are some good eggs in there, like for instance, like Filoni, like Favreau. They're good. They they know what we want. They're
Uh-huh.
not there to make a buck. I'm sure that like
They
it's a bonus, but then
they
if you look
want
at other
to make good stuff.
exactly, but then if you look at other people in those businesses, or just like people higher up in those businesses, I'm not saying names, but
Mm.
there is, but she is also part of Disney, and it started like some may have started out to be making good films,
Yeah.
and then it turned into just now it's all about how much money
Yep.
can we make with this, how
Yep.
much money can we save, what
Yep.
is the profit that we get out of
Yep.
this, and
Yep.
unfortunately that's the state in which it is. So then everything else suffers from it. I understand that you want to make money, and
Yeah.
sometimes having money allows you to make better products.
Exactly.
That's with anything.
Make a good product. It's gonna bring in more of an income.
Exactly. You got to invest into your fans. Give them what they want so that they will come back more and
Yeah.
more and more. We've discussed this a few. I think we discussed this on All Things Podcast.
Yeah.
A few months ago. But
You make good
if you
stuff.
don't
The
invest in your
fans want
fans,
exactly,
exactly,
and I
and then they
think
come back and then they make you more money.
yeah, I think creative, the creative people behind these movies that are doing the writing, directing, they've turned into business people, businessmen and
Exactly.
businesswomen. They've gone from creatives to business women and men. They just want to
Yeah.
grab that buck and head home in their Bugatti and Rolls Royce, and they don't care. They don't, that's just, that's the world we live in now, though. That no one cares about anyone else. Every industry. It's not
And
just the movie
everybody
industry.
else suffers for it.
Yep. All these big rich people, they don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care.
No, they
You're
don't.
giving them their buck. It all adds up. They don't care about you.
Yeah. You
They
work a
don't.
9 to 5 at a job you don't like so that you can pay for something
Yeah.
that you then ended up waste your money on because they didn't care.
The taxes you pay, you would hope go to a good cause, but do we really know what it goes to? They don't.
Actually, no, that is true.
They don't care if it benefits you
Certain
or not.
places, certain places. I know America because obviously America they make a lot of money by having movies there.
Mm.
Like having movies based in America makes them more money. That's why it costs so much money to make a movie in Australia, is because we don't have that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't have that. So depending on where you live in the world, your tax money may be going to making movies,
Yeah. Yeah. Very.
at
If
least
you,
in some kind of way.
with America, the whole taxing is different. I have no idea. I don't live in America, but it like varies state to state because like in America, different states have
Yeah,
their own little, and like states are
yeah.
like their own little country, and so if you live in Atlanta, Georgia, I can guarantee you your tax money is going to movie production sets and stuff because that's the home for filmmaking. They have the best studios and stuff. People think it's
Yeah.
Hollywood, LA. No, it's actually Atlanta, Georgia. They have the best film
I think
studios.
they have a lot of room there.
Yeah, they
They
do.
have a
They
lot of
have
open space there.
Yeah, they have the best film studios, the best landscape for filming. Yeah. People think it's LA.
So
Nah, LA is all crammed. LA's not a good place.
it
Yeah, they got
is.
the cool studios with green screen. Atlanta is much more freer, and that's the home of movies. People think it's Hollywood, LA. Maybe that's where the business side of filmmaking is.
I think so.
Everyone goes there. It's big LA, but where
That's
they
where you
actually
get
make
famous
it,
and then you get
yeah,
shipped out.
where they actually make it, Atlanta is the home of filmmaking.
So yeah,
That's
it's they don't, and unfortunately, everybody suffers from it, as we just explained. You, the consumer, waste your money and your time on these movies and potentially don't enjoy it. Obviously, you may enjoy it, yes, but it could have been better. It may not have been what you expect. I think Avatar: The Way of the Water is a step in the right direction. James Cameron has proven himself to be a director who cares about his fans. But
wow.
for Star Wars and for Marvel, I think at least of late, they've struggled to give us something worth, at least something worth my money and worth my time.
Sorry to butt in here, but I just read the first sentence of the article. 2022 was the worst year for box office numbers for movies making money since 1998. 2023 2022 marked the worst year at the domestic box office
Or,
since 1998. That's pretty
so
shocking, especially when you consider the box office has been steadily chugging along with comfortable takings of since 2009. Every year, the box office made over $10 billion, even through COVID. Post COVID, it dropped 7.3 bill.
it dropped 7 bill.
7.3 bill.
That's absurd.
Post COVID, during COVID, box office was doing better.
It's because, well, the way that I think of it is because you know that movies take time to make, right? So it's the fact that they haven't had any time to film movies during COVID.
Yeah, true. True.
Um,
But
so those
still,
movies that were being filmed in 2018, 2019, set to be released in 20
yeah, that's
in set to be released then were
yeah.
then released during COVID.
Yeah, that's true, but the movies that they got out during COVID still did better than the movies that did post COVID, and post
Yeah,
COVID had the big movies finish. Top Gun Maverick, Avatar, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, what am I missing here? Jurassic World,
Top Gun.
Top Gun. So I want to get into some of this guy's points. However, in his last line, he says, "So is the movie industry dying?" The short answer is no, not right now. For a long answer, a whole 2,946 words to be precise, we dive deeper into the mechanics and specifics of what's been happening these past few years, which feed back into the box office numbers and the predicted future for the film industry. This guy doesn't think it's dying. Well, not right now. Okay, so let's get into some of his points and we will discuss them. He's got quite a bit here. Um, this is one we talked about the cinema pricing problem. In 2022, watching a movie at Cineworld, probably American big cinema place, cost £10. Oh, America, UK, £10 and 20 pence. Is that what they say in the UK? For an
Yeah.
adult ticket, child tickets clock in at okay. Let's go to that £10 and 20 cents or pence, whatever. £10,
Pence.
pence is it?
PENENCE.
Yeah, okay. Which is 18 Australian dollars, which is 12 US dollars. That seems about right. Yeah, at the movie theater we work at, if you're like, we have a member thing, I'm not getting into it, but a normal ticket is around $15. And that's Australia.
Yeah.
And it definitely varies location to location, company
Yeah,
to
it does.
company. Um, Factoring in the travel, whether that be public transport or petrol, along with buying snacks either inside or outside the cinema, for the average family goer with 2 adults and 2 kids, you're looking at £35 and 80 pence before you're even thought about extras. Wait, what's that in AUD? That's 63 Australian dollars, and that seems about right. Like when families come in and I serve them at the cinema, and they get their popcorn, they get their movie tickets, they go on their way, they get their drinks, so it comes up to around $63. In the
Okay.
US, the
Yeah.
situation isn't much better, with inflation resulting in ticket prices rising to around $9.16 averagely, of course. In the bigger cities, you're looking at the price increasing, blah, blah, blah. Bowling alley, why is he talking about bowling alleys? In pricing themselves out of the market, cinemas have essentially evolved from a go-to place to an event you'll go to see. Yeah, an event you'll go to only to see the most reliable films.
Exactly.
You know, people used to go, used to go to cinema, watch every movie that comes out. Now you'll go as like a big event, a big movie just came out, advertisers came out, oh my god, long awaited sequel to the highest grossing film. Let's get the family together, let's go to the movie theater. Back, like, that's why smaller films don't do as good anymore. Because it's too
People have
expensive.
lost faith.
Yeah. It, Of course, that's before even mentioning the audience itself. Walking into a cinema now is potluck. Will you get the noisy eater munching popcorn super loud behind you? Will there be the annoying guy on his phone the whole time? How about a bunch of kids laughing and talking loudly all the way through? And what about the sticky floors and potential for people to kick your seats? All of these, of course, lead up to unpleasant experiences that completely ruin the cinema experience.
See, that comes down to a lot of variables. For instance, when I went to go see Spider-Man: No Way Home, I think I enjoyed the movie more. I definitely enjoyed the movie more because I saw it in the cinema.
Yeah, you're getting, what is it? Audience movie goggles. What is it?
I call them cinema goggles.
Cinema goggles. This the audience is influencing you. If they're
Mm.
laughing, you will simultaneously laugh with it. The a
Kind of like when you go
influence
to
you.
a concert or
Yeah, when
or
everyone's
like a
jumping up and
live.
down, yeah, jumping up and
Exactly.
down singing, you go do it. And that's a big,
Everybody feeds off their each other's energy, so
yeah. That's that's so refreshing. So with the movie pricing problem, like, I agree. But that's everything now. Everything's expensive
yeah,
because of
that
inflation,
is.
because of the government.
Mm.
But that will stop a lot of people. A cinema, a movie, you're not going to go to the movies every day, especially how expensive they are now. People go as a treat. Parents will take their kids as a treat for big movies out because they're so expensive.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's unfortunate
it is.
we there's nothing we can do about it. it comes down to the biggest guy in the lot, like the biggest guy in the company, deciding we want to make as much money as possible, and we're only going to do that by making X amount of money.
Yeah. And with inflation, taxes, all these things that factor in, these people, like, they can't put it they can't put it low, otherwise they're not going to get a portion, and there's no point. For them to actually make a
Exactly. They
proper
make
profit for their work, they have to,
yeah,
it is what it is. And you can blame it on
because
inflation, the
that's what
government's in. Yeah. I think this is another big one. Technology and streaming. Now, technology has come a long way in recent years. Many of us have large flat screen TVs at home, boasting high definition picture. During the pandemic, uh, we've became something to watching movies at home. We've become automated to watching movies at home, curled up on the sofa, pausing to head for a bathroom break or make snacks and return where we left off. With some of the really bigger movies this year in the cinema clocking in between 2 and 3 hour runtimes, not to mention the cost of living increases, it just seems economically cheaper to wait for these movies to hit home streaming. With streamers like Netflix dishing out big bucks to produce enjoyable action flicks on the small screen, and Disney's desire to throw on their latest movies several months after releasing them in theaters, it seems many people have realized it's easier to wait and watch the latest movie in the comfort of our homes rather than making the trek out to the cinema. Of course, established brands like Star Wars and Marvel have always been heavily hitters and a surefire way to rake in the cash, but even that is starting to change now. Yeah, yeah. And I think he gets into it later, but like about solo bombing, he gets into it. I saw it a bit earlier. Um, but yeah. Um,
it's
Streaming is changing how we watch movies.
it is.
And people are like, oh, I can watch it in my own living room with my own snacks, on my own TV, on my own sofa, in my own house. That's way better. I don't want to be sitting in a theater
Yeah,
with a bunch of random people.
I think the problem. I mean, that is to me that is probably the most prominent problem with it all.
Oh, it is.
But if you think about it, it comes down to a lot of other it comes down to just variables all joining together.
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
one big
Exactly.
X marking the spot for what
Yeah.
the problem is.
As I said,
It's
all
so
the
many different variables
factors,
just
all
putting
these,
together.
yeah,
Exactly.
all these different factors add up, which make that dip lie down. Wait, when they're all together, yeah, exactly.
Like, for instance, the amount that it does cost. And
Yeah,
if you're not going to pay, say, $60 to go see a mid-tier movie, or
exactly.
people are going to stay home because they want to spend
Yeah,
$60 on a
they
movie
will
they
wait
don't
the
know is
extra
going to
few
be good.
months till it's on Netflix, on Disney Plus. They'll get their own snacks
I've
from their
done that.
own cupboard. I did too. I did it for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I waited till it
Yeah,
came on Disney Plus. I did not
because
see it in theaters.
we knew that we thought that the movie wouldn't be worth our money,
Exactly.
and I mean it wasn't worth my money.
I
Obviously,
enjoyed
it's
it. It was
different
okay.
for us. We get benefits for working there, but
Yeah.
for the average
Yeah, that's
Joe,
true.
for the average like John and Jane Doe, it's not
Yeah,
worth
exactly.
going to go see that and people won't
And
because it's worth too much money,
I
and the movie's not worth the price.
exactly. I've said this a million times. I say it again. The next Star Wars film is supposedly related to the sequels. I'm not gonna go watch that in the theater. I'll watch it until unless unless Joseph says it's amazing, I have to go see it. Unless Star Wars Theory says, "Oh my God, the sequels this has changed the sequel trilogy," which I doubt. If he says that, if Joseph says that, I'll go watch it in theater. But at the moment, obviously we have no news about it. But the next film we know is sequel spin-off. I'm not at
So
this
you're not
stage.
going to go.
I'm not gonna watch that movie in the theaters. No, I'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch a movie that is off a trilogy that I get so heated over. I'm not.
Exactly.
Not.
And the main movies that have come out, at least in the past 2 years, at least in the past, I'd say 5 years, have been Marvel movies. I think post Endgame, they've depleted in quality.
Yeah, that's where this guy goes over right
So,
after.
yeah. So now it's it'll be bad for a while until Marvel decides that they want to start making better movies. It's going to, cinemas will struggle.
Yeah.
And people will not want to come watch it because they watched, Doctor Strange wasn't great.
Yeah. And
or whatever other movies I didn't think were great.
I
Now, I'm not going to go to the movies and spend X amount of money. And so the companies that make the movie, they get impacted. The movie cinemas get impacted. Then the fans get impacted. And it's a large cycle.
Exactly. And like that's the thing with all these big movies now, like these big franchise movies. Every big movie now is a franchise movie. Marvel, Star Wars, DC,
It's simple.
John Wick, anything. They come off a big franchise that's already been built. And obviously these fan bases are massive. And take Star Wars sequel trilogy for example. That divided the fandom. I would say I would say it's an 80 to 20% ratio. 80% hate it, 20% love it. That 80%, that's basically the whole thing. 20, it's still 20%. I love it, but 80% is much more than 20%, like obviously. And I think, when they are making a sequel to, this big franchise that they love, and they're continuing on the story, and if they stuff something up, if these production companies stuff something up that the fans don't like, that's really going to set them off, and that's going to stop them from going to watch these bigger things in the future. And that impacts it because these big franchises are the only things that are making cinema stay alive. These big franchises. Without them, movies, we wouldn't see any 1 billion hits. And I think that's a big problem. We need smaller movies to come in and be the next Star Wars, be the next Marvel, because when they make a movie from the Star Wars franchise, from the Marvel franchise, from DC, which have the biggest fan bases of all film franchises, and they stuff it up, the fans don't like it, that's a lot of money gone from the box office. If people aren't going to go back and watch.
I think Top Gun was a step in the right direction.
Yeah. The first one was
Top Gun did as well as it did.
I know, yeah. The first one was an average mid 1980s movie. Yeah, it was all right, nothing special.
I mean, it topped the box. It topped the box office for 1986.
Yeah, but like, it wasn't anything special.
Yeah,
it was a mid movie, and then they go and make this sequel, 1.5 billion, freaking amazing movie, amazing. That's when a sequel is good to a movie. It's very rare when sequels are better than the original, and this is one of those rare occasions. Top Gun being better than original, Maverick being better than Top Gun. But I wanna get into this guy's article. Marvel's post-Endgame problem. One of the more reliable factors in the success for cinemas recently and other lives the film industry has been Marvel. While Star Wars was effectively dug up from the ground, parted around with Tug of War sequel trilogy, and then hastily shuffled over to the small screen. As we were saying, Marvel has one of Disney's most reliable IPs for income. If you look back at those box office numbers between 2013 and 2019, Marvel movies topped their records 4 times. On the years that Marvel didn't have the highest grossing movies, they still came out in the top 5. Avengers Endgame felt to many people like a conclusive ending to the chapter of our superheroes we've come to love over the years. Everything built up to its final hoorah swang song that bowed out of the Infinity Stone saga in the most satisfying ways possible. Sure, there were a couple of forced moments that didn't quite work, and a particular Captain Marvel problem that saw her sidelined for most of the film, but on the whole, fans were happy with what they saw, and the box office numbers back up that. Exactly. Like, if that movie wasn't good, it's a big franchise, they're automatically gonna get a lot. But it needs to be good, Otherwise, there's nothing in the box office.
But if you look at for Marvel, for instance, because that's what we're on, Endgame, biggest Marvel movie out there, biggest superhero movie out there. Now, if you look at every movie that came after it, they started. I assume they started really high, and now they're slowly declining in how much money they're making. Obviously, Spider-Man is the outlier because it's Spider-Man, but still, Spider-Man didn't make as much money as Endgame. There was Black Widow, which went.
That bombed.
I waited to see that.
You waited?
So, yeah, I didn't go see that in cinemas.
I haven't even seen it regardless.
But if you look at it, how much did Doctor Strange make?
900.
Did Doctor Strange hit a bill?
No, 900.
900. And then was it Black Panther straight after that?
800, yeah.
800. If you look at the movie, what came out before Black Panther? Doctor Strange. Was it just
No Way
Spider-Man?
Home.
Yeah.
Which was 1.9.
Yeah. And then it drops down to 900 for Doctor Strange. And then drops again for Black Panther.
It dropped a bill from No Way Home to Doctor Strange. So it dropped $1 billion from No Way Home to Doctor Strange. Then it dropped 100 million from Doctor Strange to Black Panther, and then it dropped 100 mil again from Black Panther to Thor. Love and Thunder.
That's right, Thor.
Jeez.
So you would think that Endgame, like it kept them up there. Endgame success has kept them up there. But if you're telling me that if Avengers Endgame didn't happen, these movies would still make over 500 mil?
Over 5. Well,
if those movies were made 10 years ago, for instance, it was a different plot, but same quality, those movies are not hitting 700, 800 mil. With the quality that they made with then, like last year.
Yeah, no.
That quality is not 700 mil worth. It's only doing that because of the IP. It's because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
And because of the success of Infinity War, Endgame. I think No Way Home had a lot of fan service, so that's why a lot of people enjoyed it. Like the hype around it on TikTok, because the other Spider-Man, that had a lot to do with it. Just, if they keep on this path, the IP will then get, its worth will then continue to go down. It's the same way Fast and Furious still keep doing well.
No,
because
that's
that IP.
Declined.
Yeah, it's on a decline. But in general, like, that's, which one made a bill? Was it? I know 7 made a bill.
So 7 and then 8. 8 came off 7. So 7 made 1.5. And then 8 made 1.3 and 9 made 700.
Yes. So again,
Hobbs and Shaw
success of
made
7
1 billion, I think.
then made. If you're telling me that if 7 was just as good as the rest of them, it wasn't substantially higher. Like if it wasn't as successful as it was,
Paul's death.
Yeah. If that didn't happen,
yeah.
Are you telling me that 8 is worth 900 mil?
No, 8. See that really hurts me. That Fast and Furious, I love it. And number 7, it was great. You know, it got 1.5 mil. That deserves. Not 1.5 mil, 1.5 bill. And then number 8, total shithouse, got 1.3. And so $1.3 billion of people's money. People went and saw that movie, and that set the standard for Fast and Furious for them. And that's
exactly. Hobbs and Shaw. Does not deserve the amount that it was made.
No, I think it made like a bill.
It's purely because of the IP.
Yep, and because and you know how much The Rock promoted Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh yeah.
He promotes
every movie like that, though. Like, fair play to him. He promotes.
Yeah, he does. But this was his biggest Fast and Furious movie that he promoted. Like, he went all out.
Yeah, well, he was
like
the main
Black
character.
Adam. Like, the promoting he did for Black Adam was crazy. Well, it didn't quite work.
And so, the problem that arises from this, it's fine and dandy now, but in 5 to 10 years' time, if this continues, where they're making movies that aren't worth the amount that they're going to be, then cinemas will die, then theatre will die, then
exactly. And as we said on our third episode, I think it was, will 2023 save cinemas? We said that 2023, there's many big movies coming out, but 2024, 2025, the rest of this decade has to follow in 2023's footsteps and release big movies like this. The amount of big movies coming out this year, it's gonna boost cinemas. But for cinemas to stay alive and to go back on the rise, it needs to keep building up. It needs to follow on. Exactly. They can't have one great year of movie making and then, boom, die back down.
Why do you think that old cinema, people prefer old movies? Like, if you ask most people what their top 5 favorite movie is, one of them will be made before the 2000s, unless they're like 10. Like Star Wars, as we're
Star Wars,
borderline Star Wars channel.
Star Wars,
Indiana Jones,
E.T., Jurassic
Park. Even if you go back to the first Fast and Furious in the early 2000s.
2001, First Fast and Furious.
Watched that movie last night.
All the biggest movies, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s.
These movies weren't made to make money. Like, yes, obviously that is the objective. But it wasn't the main objective. It was
to tell a story.
These movies were made to tell a story, for people to enjoy them. To be remembered in time, not as numbers, as memories for people, for families. And corporations nowadays aren't doing that.
George Lucas, he said he doesn't give a shit about money. He wants to tell a good story. He wants to get the things in his mind onto paper and then go and film it. He doesn't care about money. He wants to tell a good story for the fans.
Exactly.
Now, of course, we know what he thinks of The Force Awakens. We don't know what he thinks about everything else. We know he doesn't like the sequels. But, in his contract when he sold Disney, it is said that he's not allowed to go out and say, oh, Disney is shit, Disney poo-poo heads, Disney. In his contract, he said he can't do that because that's going to influence a lot of people and that's going to hurt Disney. So he's not allowed to do that. In his contract, they could sue him for that. So, George Lucas, he just...
But Mark Hamill can.
Oh, you know how much trouble he got in? I was reading an article today. When he started saying all that shit about The Last Jedi, they shut him up real quick. He said it all in that in that big interview, and then, that first month of The Last Jedi, they shut him up real quick.
Okay. See...
He got in a lot of trouble
Star Wars.
More than we all think.
Yeah, but also... Who is the face of the franchise? Who is the face of Star Wars?
Luke Skywalker.
Yes, you can argue Darth Vader, which, to be honest, I would agree with more because he's in it more. But when you think Star Wars, it is Luke Skywalker. If you try to show up Luke Skywalker, nobody will go to watch your movies again.
Exactly. Look at the biggest Star Wars YouTuber, Star Wars Theory. He does not get invited to any premieres. He does not get invited to red carpets for Star Wars movies, even though he's the biggest Star Wars YouTuber, biggest Star Wars content creator out there, has the biggest influence on Star Wars fans as an individual. He doesn't get invited to any of it because he talks his mind.
Yeah.
He says his opinion, he says what he likes about it, and he says what he doesn't like. And what he doesn't like pisses them off, so they don't want him influencing people. Because, that's the thing, if there's a big person influencing others, they're going to lose money.
Exactly. But maybe they can just stop thinking about the money.
And make a good story, but hey.
Here's something that I think you posted on themoviepod Instagram a few weeks ago. It was James Cameron. Him talking about how people want to go watch movies because because there's the success of Avatar 2, The Way of the Water.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to show. But for him, I also believe that James Cameron is one of those people, those creators
Yeah, wants to tell a
who
good
aren't
story.
in it for the money.
No, he's not at all.
Titanic, debatably, debatably one of the best love stories ever created. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Avatar, the highest grossing movie of all time, and for reason. It is not undeserved. It doesn't have any IP to fall back on. You got to think, this is Avatar 1, the highest grossing movie of all time. What does it have going for it before that? Avengers Endgame has like 19 other movies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Exactly.
second. It just goes to show that. Oh yeah, I believe that James Cameron is a director who cares about making good content and making content worth money, and he believes that the success of Avatar 2 shows that people want to go to cinemas.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. When I saw you post it, I really like that.
Yeah, I
And
100%
I've
agree.
always liked James Cameron. What else is he for? Am I forgetting something?
T2, Terminator 2. Uh,
James Cameron did Terminator 2?
yeah, he did. Best Terminator movie. He did it.
I mean, yes, it is. I did not know that.
Yep. He also did, he co-wrote, Rambo with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, he's done big shit. He's done big stuff.
He is. It is very unfortunate. I don't. It, what is your final answer for
Well, I do. I want to go over this one last thing this guy says. Then
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up. But this is what he says. It says, a year later, Ryan Johnson's incredibly devised Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, dropped in theaters. Johnson has recently come out and said he's proud of the bold, different vision that the film took, with character development from previous movies thrown out in favor of a new vision that divided the fan base. This division hurt Solo, a Star Wars story. This division hurt Solo, a Star Wars story movie financially. A film that was
Mhm.
underwhelmed and performed so badly in the cinema that all substantial sequels after Rise of Skywalker, the third and final film in the sequel trilogy, were dropped. All the while, the producers and creators of these devised Star Wars movies, which especially turned into an artistic vision fight between J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson, led to the Star Wars fan base fractured and more divided than ever. You look at the Star Wars movies, the sequels, Force Awakens, highest domestically grossing film of all time. Significant drop for The Last Jedi, and then another significant drop for The Rise of Skywalker. It just got worse and worse. And whether you like it or not, The Last Jedi is why Solo bombed at the box office, why it failed. I don't care if you're like Kathleen Kennedy and says, oh, Solo, a Star Wars story, flopped at the box office because there was no Harrison Ford defect. No, there were no. Just shut up. Solo bombed because of the Last Jedi controversy. I don't care. That is
Exactly.
why it is. Like, are people freaking digging the mind?
And that'll be the rest of franchises.
I'm gonna regret saying this one day, eh? Because like my dream is to work at Lucasfilm. Never will happen. Obviously, an unrealistic dream, but like you never know in life. You never know. And you know, me saying this stuff, I'm never gonna get a job while at Lucasfilm, while Disney hold Lucasfilm. So that's that. But hey, I'm speaking my mind. I'm not gonna be a freaking shill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Was there
long
anything?
story short, 51
Yeah,
minutes shortened down to 2 seconds. Yeah, I think cinemas are dying. I think I really do think so. Many factors as we went over: price of a ticket, streaming services, fans not feeling appreciated, them not making the movies for fans, big franchises. So many factors that lower it down and is making it boom.
yeah.
And you agree?
I do. But my answer's a little bit more indirect. I think that 2023 will be a revival, but it comes down to the companies if they want cinemas to die or not. Not us, not the fans, not the consumers. It comes down to the companies. As I said, though, I think 2023 will help, but it comes to the companies to save it.
Exactly.
But my yes or no answer, no, they're not dying, but they're struggling. But yeah,
I think that's a better way to say it. But honestly, they're not dead. They are dying. It's like an old man in a hospital bed. He's not dead. He's still breathing. He's still got a brain. He's still got a heart. He can still look around. He can still talk. But he's on his way out. That's how I say it. And I think, we're only at the start of 2023. Nothing big has come out quite yet. We got Ant-Man soon. Like 20 days? February 16.
Yes.
Yeah, and so...
Yeah.
It'll be, I'm very hyped for that. I'm very, very hyped for that. I know you aren't, Joseph.
This is where my faith in Marvel has gone.
Yeah, that's fair, but I'm gonna admit it, this looks so good. And yeah, I think 2023 will start the revision process. Like, the old man now in the hospital bed is getting surgery on his heart. If it fails, he's dead. It's one way to put it.
Yeah, I think the next 3 years.
2020, yeah. The next 3
by
years.
By the end of 2025.
Well, yeah, the following of this decade, the rest of the 2020s decade, is the surgery.
Will determine.
Yep, it is. It will determine whether cinemas are dead or not, and whether cinemas will exist, and it will just all go to the small screen on streaming services where they make more money. But hey, guys, in 20 years, when I make the next biggest movie, I'll release it to theaters, and we can all go back to the theater. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, start of the revision process is this year, and we'll see where it goes. We will see where it goes. But guys, good episode today. We talked about a lot. This was actually a really good episode. An hour long. We hope you guys, if you're still listening, leave a comment. Tell us that you're still here. We appreciate you all. And yeah, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, follow, give us a rating, a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, all the good stuff. Whatever you're listening on, we appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys in tomorrow's episode of The Movie Pod. I got school tomorrow, so I got to edit this and freaking wake up early again and go to a depressing place called school. Alright, guys. Catch you guys in the next one. And yeah. Let us know what you think. Listen to me is dying or not. Alright, guys. Peace out.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.